My name's Petra. As ever, I'm here with my lovely daughter Natasha.
Hello.
We are Knit Inc. And we are happy to bring you episode number 28.
Oh, I forgot to look up what number we were at, so thanks for doing that.
Yes. We're excited to be getting closer to 30.
Yeah, it's going to be here before we know it, huh?
Mm-hmm. So today is Sunday, April 3rd.
2022. I realize we never say the year, but now that we've been doing this for years, I feel like we should say the year. So it's 2022.
This is our third calendar year, isn't it? Because we started in
September 2020.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we want to we want to say a really big welcome to new viewers. We don't know what happened, but our last episode got a lot more viewers than usual. So welcome to all of you. We're happy you found us, and I hope that you enjoy our knitting journey.
Yeah, thank you so much for watching, and thanks for your patience in between episodes. Life happens, you know. I moved, still in the Boston area, but our landlord was selling our unit, and I don't know if anyone's aware, but the housing market is crazy right now. So Judd and I weren't quite ready to buy a house, so we're in kind of a temporary apartment rental just outside Boston. So it's been a big transition for us, adjusting to not being in the heart of Boston, but we're comfortable in the space. And then some sad news: my paternal grandfather passed away a couple of weeks ago, pretty unexpectedly. So we will be flying to England next week to celebrate his life with our family over there. So we have been knitting. I actually, when I moved, there were 3 days in a row that I didn't knit, and another handful of days as well in March, in the middle of March, I guess. But on the whole, made some progress on stuff. But yeah, it was, you know, sometimes you go through these things, and knitting took a back seat, and we're back now to share what we've worked on.
Yeah, so for me, I helped you move, and there were also...
Let me say, I would not have been able to move without my mom. She packed up our whole kitchen and unpacked our whole kitchen and like helped with all the other stuff, but the kitchen is like a huge part of moving, you know. You want to be comfortable in the new space to be able to like get yourself something to eat or drink without opening boxes and finding a fork and all of that. So that was huge. So thank you. Oh wait, I want to just point out, you can see the puppy there. He's got his cone. He's looking at us through the window. He had his adult surgery on Friday, so he has the cone of shame, but it hasn't slowed him down.
No, not at all. So, I really enjoyed arranging all your spices in alphabetical order in your new apartment.
Yeah.
Natasha had bought this shelving, 3 steps, so that you could see all the nice jars. You know, and I must say, it's much easier to organize someone else's kitchen than your own.
Yeah.
So
why is that? Why is it easy?
I think because you're less emotionally attached and you can make decisions much faster.
Yeah.
The life for me was, I did go to Colorado skiing. That was a fantastic trip. I finished my Marled Mania Leggings ahead of time, so they were my après ski. Everybody that was there wanted a pair. I was pleasantly surprised that skiing was like riding a bike, because I hadn't been skiing for 6 or 7 years. Skiing in the Colorado Rockies was just really majestic. I was with some pretty special friends. And then on top of it, one of our lovely viewers recognized me at Denver Airport. Hi, Lisa. She came up to me.
Wait, we have to back up. So,
okay.
So there was this big snowstorm on the East Coast. You were supposed to fly back, Friday?
Friday night,
But there was a snowstorm that Friday, so your flight got pushed to Sunday.
Yes.
So on Saturday, someone else had a flight. So you drove to the airport, Denver Airport, to drop them off, but also see if you could potentially get on a flight on Saturday.
Yeah, to see if I could change my flight to an earlier time on Sunday, because my flight was Sunday evening.
So you went in and you were talking, and you know, you're all masked up, but you're also covered in covered in knitwear and have your accent. So it wasn't the person that was actually helping you at the desk. It was someone else.
It was the supervisor.
Yeah.
Lisa was the United Airways supervisor.
So she came over and
she said, she said she recognized me by my eyes, and then as soon as I started talking, she knew it was me, and she came up and she said, "Hi, I watch your podcast." And I just shrieked, I think, because I thought, what are the chances of that? Denver Airport, it's not a knitting event.
Right.
We're close to 6,000 subscribers.
Just the serendipity of it, of like the snowstorm pushing your flight, and then you went to go see if you could change it. Like all these things that happened that then brought you guys together at that same spot.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just like a normal travel day. It was these unexpected timings that created that moment. So I thought that was pretty cool. And also, the text you sent me, I was with some friends, and I was like, guys, my mom was just recognized at an airport. And everyone was like, oh my God, that's amazing.
It was so fun. And then all my Denver crew were just like really excited about it too. Natasha's going to insert a picture of us here.
Oh, yeah, I'll insert a photo.
Lisa and I. And then so I was back on Sunday, and I spent some time in the United Lounge, thanks to Peter, if you watch, for getting me that day pass. So I did a lot of knitting. I had to wait a while. It was complicated with car rentals and drop-offs. But you know what? When you're a knitter, you never really mind hanging out.
Yeah, as long as you have your knitting.
And something nice to drink.
Yeah.
So that was a really great trip. So I came back, my legs were aching from skiing, and then 2 days later, I took a little bit more time off work and helped Natasha move. Their old apartment was the top floor, 4th floor of an old brownstone with no elevator.
We hired movers. I didn't make my mom schlep all my belongings
but
down four flight of stairs.
But we still went up and down
Yeah.
Quite a few times.
Yeah.
My legs were really aching.
My ankles were sore.
Oh yeah, that was really strange.
I've had weak ankles though from gymnastics when I was younger. So I think that might have had to do with it.
So this is a lot of chatter.
But it's been a while.
It's been a while. The war broke out while I was in Colorado. Our hearts go out to everybody in Ukraine, everybody that's impacted by this horrific. What's going on is absolutely horrific.
Yeah.
The other thing I just want to say is that the movers that helped Natasha, one of them was a Russian and one of them was a Ukrainian and one of them was from Kazakhstan. And they were getting along beautifully. And actually the Russian guy had spent some time in Czech Republic and he spoke Czech. So when I said I was from the Czech Republic, he immediately started speaking Czech to me. And we just had this bond.
Mm-hmm. His name was Max and he was kind of like the team lead.
Yeah.
And the Ukrainian guy had kind of broken English, but he had won the green card lottery. And his immediate family was all in the States. And he said that his extended family was safe. But they were amazing.
They really were amazing.
Yeah.
And
if you're in the Boston area, 7 movers. John and I have used them twice, and we've recommended them to other people that have needed movers as well. So they're really great.
So there we have it. So now we're just going to dive into what we've been knitting in the last month or so, I suppose.
Yeah, I guess it has been a month.
So Natasha, what are you wearing?
Okay, so I had just swatched for this last time.
That's
And
right.
I don't remember if I had showed my swatch, but here's my swatch.
You did show it, I think, yeah.
This is the lounge sweater. Lounge sweater by Clarissa Schellong. So this is, I used the Holst. Oh, do you want to grab the comb for me, please?
Yes, I will.
So,
excuse me. You'll get a snapshot of my leggings.
Yeah. The Holst, shoot, I don't remember what color it was.
Sweet pea.
Oh, sweet pea. Okay. Do you mind grabbing like an almost full cone too, please? And the cake that you wound up. So I held this whole super soft double with the alpaca single, and you can see they're pretty much the same color. And I wanted my mom to grab the rest of the yarn and the cone to show you how much I use. So this has been wound off from here, but this is a full cone. I used a ton of this yarn. Much more than I expected. And actually, I think I figured out the weight by calculating how much I used of the alpaca length and then using that length to determine how much length I used from Holst.
Mathematics.
Yeah. So I used so these are 50 grams. I used 2 full skeins of this, and then I have 46 grams of this left. So just over two skeins of the alpaca.
And this is 400 meters, so it's a fine lace weight. So used just over 800 meters of this lace. Oh my, this alpaca is just gorgeous.
I know. So it came out to 830 meters
of the alpaca
Yeah.
lace. Okay.
And then so since I held this twice,
2 strands.
yeah, it was 1650 meters.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
About 800-ish, yeah.
Yeah. So let me talk about this pattern.
So wait a minute, how many grams of this did you use?
So it didn't calculate that for me in Ravelry. I'd have to do a little bit more math. I just put in the yardage. So I had to figure out. I have to do a little bit more math for the yard too.
Because I don't know off the top of my head how many meters per 50 grams of this. Okay, but you can see I was shocked how much. Well,
but it's this too.
Yeah, but even before I wound this on, but also happy that we ordered these cones and one is almost gone. And at the end, I've got plans for the rest of this. So I'll talk about, and I washed this. I'll talk about this later. My Holst planning. I'm really excited about that. Okay, Natasha. So tell us about it.
If I'll take this off or not. So this is knit from the top down. And I should have looked up the stitch this is. Let me do that.
It's a broken something, isn't it?
Yeah, I got confused between this and the Birch pullover. They're both like broken something stitch, but bear with me. Let me see.
One is the broken fisherman's stitch.
I think that's the Birch pullover that I'm working on. This is, let's see. Okay, it is the, oh shoot, I just had it. Oh, okay, seed rib stitch.
What is it?
Seed rib stitch.
Seed rib stitch.
So,
okay.
There's the puppy. So it's a 4-stitch pattern of 2-row 4-stitch pattern. So this is the pattern. And then I really liked this raglan shaping here, or raglan detail. So this is done with the increases to create this, and it's a fold over collar, and you do these short rows in the back of the collar.
Oh, I see. Oh, in here. Okay.
Yeah, so you repeat the short rows twice to have that fold over. And then the bottom is a split hem, and I also really liked how this hem was done.
That is really nice,
You
Natasha.
pick up under here for the back, and I think it does kind of flare up a little bit. I think that it could do with some more short rows.
I think it could do with adding short rows in the bottom.
Yeah.
Another set in the bottom.
For sure, because I don't think it's enough in the neck
Would you be willing to undertake that or not?
I don't think so. I might just try blocking and stretching it down a little.
Yeah.
I have blocked it once, but I didn't pin it. I just laid it flat.
Okay.
So I could do that. It's not that bad, but it's really thick. I have a long sleeve shirt underneath. It's really thick and warm.
Well, it's 2 strands.
Yeah. Just did a 1x1 cuff. But yeah, I was attracted to this because it has some interesting detail, but it was simple enough, and then the sleeves are just plain. What else did I want to say about this? I mean, I love the color. I love how it's got some nice heatherness to it between carrying the super soft and the alpaca. I'm just gonna see if I had any notes in my Ravelry project about this. It took me, I think, about a month. I cast it on February. I cast it on February 21st, and I finished it on March 22nd. I think the pattern was pretty well written. It was easy to follow. There was a lot of bleeding with, I think we discovered it was the alpaca.
Not the Holst, yeah.
Well, they're both Holst, not the super soft.
I'm sorry, not the super soft, yeah.
Because it was really dark, and I actually rinsed it 3 times. But when you wash just the super soft, it wasn't bleeding.
It didn't bleed much, no. There's definitely some sizing or something that comes out of the super soft after the first wash. But I'll talk about super soft and Holst and cones later on.
And I knit the second size.
Okay.
So, and it's a size 6 and size 8 US, which is 4 and 5 millimeter needles.
Nice.
So that is my lounge sweater, and I lounge in it.
You're lounging in it, okay.
What are you wearing?
Well, I'm wearing my birthday cast on, which is the Felix pullover. You can see the raglan. It's a raglan with these lovely yarn overs. I used Brooklyn tweed shelter. I think it's shelter. The colorway is plume. I didn't refresh my memory. And it's this beautiful deep purple with some flecks in it. And in the sunlight, it looks much lighter. And I love it. It's the woolen spun, which I'm kind of more leaning towards. It's worsted weight, but it's really nice and light. I used almost all the yarn, which I think was 6. Now I can't remember if I ordered 5 or 600 grams. I think 5. Are you looking at my project page?
Yeah, where is it?
It'll be under my.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah. So, couple of things I want to say. I said I had ordered this yarn from the store in Minnesota called The Yarnery, and it's in St. Paul. It's not in Minneapolis, it's in St. Paul. So thank you for correcting me. And I think of the area as the Twin Cities, Minneapolis and St. Paul. I've never been to either one of those cities, but I understand that they are culturally very different. And I met a friend last week for happy hour who's from Minnesota, and he explained to me all about St. Paul and Minneapolis. So that was interesting.
So it says you had 6 skeins.
Oh, okay. So I did use almost all the skeins, which is interesting because it feels light. I've got 2 little nuggets left over.
Nice.
Yeah, and I did do tubular.
It looks really good. Yeah, you did the tubular and everything.
And what size? Did I say what size? I think I did in between sizes.
You did size 2.
Size 2, okay. And I think I was pretty close to gauge, and I did tubular everything, although when it's dark, it doesn't really always show up. I've worn it so much that I washed it already a second time recently. It is pilling a little bit, but not too bad. And
sometimes there's like the first initial pill.
That's what I'm starting to think, that there's the first initial pill. And I'm just gonna stand up, and it's I'm really happy.
Get a little closer so that you can see the like pink bits there.
Yeah.
Really nice.
So I'm really happy with the fit. It's not as much positive ease as the pattern calls for, but it is a little. I did want to have some positive ease. And then I finished my Marled Mania leggings, and I love them.
They come out great.
I would definitely make another pair, maybe using just 1 or 2 different colors. I have worn them out to the grocery store, and I wear them out just walking locally and at home. I did get some looks when I was in the grocery store wearing them. Whatever, right. They're just really super comfy.
They must just be jealous. I would be if I saw someone with that. I'd be like, hey.
Yeah, and so, some of you who watched our previous episodes, I had this big glass bowl full of all my sock leftovers. Well, after these leggings, it seems like I didn't make much of a dent.
I know, sometimes scrappy projects don't use as much yarn as you think, right?
I haven't weighed these to see how much I used. I'll put that in the Ravelry in the link for those of you that might be curious. So yeah, so I'm wearing my 2 FOs, and these are my only FOs.
Nice.
Do you have any other FOs, Natasha?
So last time I needed a little bit of a break in between projects, and I had done that like baby bubble sweater, which was really cute. And so with moving, I had done just a little bit of reorganization of my stash, and I noticed how many lovely single skeins I had. And I wanted to start using them, and I had done a bunch of hats over the winter, so I didn't feel like doing any hats. So I decided to do another little sweater, and this time I did, let me grab all the things I need. I did the flax sweater by Tin Can Knits, and I did the smallest size.
Oh, that is so cute.
Yeah.
I love this color.
Yeah, so this I got when John and I went to Chicago for our second wedding anniversary. And I went to Nina Chicago, and this was their myopic wicker park worsted, hand dyed in Chicago by Kristen Oldak, with Movers and Makers and Nina in Chicago. So this was their like store color or store yarn. It might not have been the store color. It was their store yarn. And the color, I don't know if the color's on here.
It looks like a peacock.
Oh, myopic might be the color.
Oh,
and then
okay.
the yarn is wicker park worsted, by Movers and Makers. So really cute, easy, simple knit.
Is that the smallest size?
Yeah, and so the smallest, I had a note on my ball band here that said, so this says 218 yards, and it said a little less yardage used for some mitts, December 2020. So I had done some hand knits for Anna, and it was with this teal color. And I lost yarn chicken, and I needed like a couple more yards to finish.
I remember that.
So I took it from here. So I had a little note. So this said 218 yards, and the smallest size said you needed 220 yards. So I was just kind of hoping I would have enough, but I feel like I might have been able to do the second size. I was trying to use up as much yarn as possible. I haven't weighed this, but this is what's left over from it. So I used almost all of it, but I was trying to use like all of it. But this is pretty close.
That is pretty close, yeah.
So, yeah, not sure where this is going yet, but it is cute and
really cute.
it was just kind of, when I finished this, I didn't quite feel like working only on my Birch pullover, and I wasn't sure what I wanted to cast on next. So this was just a little bit of a palette cleanser instead of doing a hat. I feel like I've been struggling lately with hat sizing.
Yeah, I have another hat disaster.
Yeah, for some reason it can be hard to do hat sizing. I don't know why.
We just have a mental block. Oh, so those of you who watched our last episode, I talked about those two hats going to some. Well, I raffled those off at a curling fundraiser. They went. I wrapped them up as a pair, and my grandfather bought them for his grandchildren, and raised some money for the curling club.
Oh,
so
that's great.
That's where those went.
Nice.
Yeah, and I do need to. I have some local babies that I want to make things for. It'll probably be for next winter now.
I'm just thinking, like, you know how everyone wants to buy like local greens or local eggs or whatever. You're like, oh, the local babies.
I'm just trying to say there's some people in locally that have had babies.
Yeah, that's funny.
But yes, so that's some future projects.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want to talk about a whip?
Sure, I will talk about a whip now that I'm in a bit of a tangle. I was hoping to make Anna a tulip sweater for her birthday. Her birthday was on the 21st of March. It was a birthday that ends in an O, and she threw herself a beautiful party. It was a floral theme. Mm-hmm. You knitted her some flowers.
I did some hand knit flowers, and I forgot to bring those with me, but I'll have her take a photo. So it was a whole floral theme with Gerber daisies everywhere, and Anna had a dress with some floral applique on it, and everyone was encouraged to bring their favorite flowers, and so she had a space above a restaurant in town. Yeah, it was really nice.
It was lovely. So this is the tulip sweater by Melody Hoffman that I'm knitting, and there's the cast off hem, which is scallop that makes it look like a tulip. I'm almost at the end of finishing the first sleeve. I think I have another 2 centimeters to go, and then I'm going to bind off. And this is my first time using roving to knit. It's Plotulopi. Just gonna show you the plate. So I'm holding 2 plates and some mohair with it. And Anna chose the color. It's a wine. It might be Merlot or something. The puppy got this and destroyed the label, but I got this at my local yarn shop, Driftwood Yarns, and I think I only bought 2. I'm at the end of the first one, so I'm definitely going to have more than enough, and I just started the second set of plates, so I'm going to have quite a few left over. You definitely have to be gentle when you're pulling these off the plates. Right. They have broken a few times, but it's just easy to just split splice and felt them and rejoined them. So, but I am getting better. Definitely there was a bit of learning. So, and this is going to be a really warm sweater. So I'm looking forward to finishing this. It'll be in time for next winter.
Did you have to do any sizing changing for that, or what's?
Yeah, so I had knit, I think the first size, I didn't get gauge. My gauge is much bigger than the pattern calls for. And I was winging it a little bit, but you tried it on and then I ripped back.
Right, it was a little big. It was quite big for me, and Anna's smaller than me. So.
Yeah, and I think if I'd continued, it would have fit me the first time around.
Right.
I was making the smaller size. I'm using size 8 needles for the body. But then I just ripped back to here. And that's the great thing about the raglan, really.
Yeah.
I just ripped back to where it was at a good fit for Anna under underarm. I used you actually as a model. So I have no idea what size. It's basically smaller than anything in the actual pattern. But I am following, I followed the pattern for the hem and the sleeves, generally for the length. And my stitch count is much less. I can't remember now what my gauge was, but I think it was maybe 15 stitches for 4 inches, something like that. Yeah, it's a quick knit if it was a focus knit.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to finishing this.
Yeah, you just have basically one sleeve left.
Yeah,
So you'll probably be able to finish that before you go to England.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely not travel knitting with this roving.
Yeah.
So this didn't go anywhere with me. This has been my stay-at-home knitting, and now I'm in a mohair tangle.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. So what about you?
Well, of course, I just started a row of some of this,
Oh, okay.
but I will talk about my other whip. So I talked about this last time. I'm doing the Birch pullover by Andrea Mowry. Mm-hmm. And this is a slow-going project.
Oh my gosh, yes.
I have done some, and I'm gonna put a progress keeper, so that next time we record, I can see how much I've done.
That's a good
I still
idea.
have quite a few raglan increases to do, and you can see the stitch pattern more in real life than you can on camera, I think. But this is the broken fisherman's rib. And I'm still doing the raglan increases. You can see it's actually a similar detail on a smaller scale with the way the raglan goes. Like there's a couple diagonal lines, I guess, while there's vertical lines happening on the body. But unlike this sweater where the sleeves are plain, the pattern is continued on the sleeves for this. There's a couple of reasons it's slow going. One, it's on size 2 needles.
US 2.
US 2, which is 2.75 millimeters. And the second is, and I don't think I'm giving anything away when I share how this stitch pattern, but it's 1 round of purl and then 1 round of purl 1, knit 1 through the bottom. So it's essentially purl and then 1 by 1 ribbing. So, it's never just plain knitting round and round.
So that reminds me, one of the viewers suggested that you try Portuguese purling.
Oh.
Which is faster.
Okay.
Yeah. So I want to say thank you for your lovely comments.
Yeah, there were a ton of really awesome
Really
comments.
great.
Thank you.
Yeah. So because you're purling, so you have like a full purl row on this.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
So I think I've done a couple inches since we last saw each other, but I will put in a progress keeper before I start working on it again. This is yarn that we got at Webb's.
In November.
Yeah, shoot, I just joined my second ball, like a round ago. I don't have but it's donegal tweed.
Okay.
I don't have
I think you showed it in the last episode 27.
So Andrea Mowry is having a March to May knit along. So if you cast something on and finish it by the end of May, I think it counts. I have to look into some of the details, but maybe this will give me motivation to try and finish this by May.
Yeah, there you go.
I think I will bring this with me on the plane to try and work through this while traveling. because while it is slow going, it's not, it doesn't take much concentration, you know?
Because you've got it, you're in a rhythm. So
yeah.
And your flight is during the day.
Yeah.
So you could, that would be good airplane knitting. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and that will make me, you know, get some progress on it.
Right.
Hopefully there'll be a good movie or two.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is my Birch pullover.
Nice. So my other whip, I have a couple actually.
And I will finish this row so that I'm ready.
Okay. So I'll talk about my Cyklur.
Oh, I wrote a little thing for that because that was tough to...
Yeah. By Asa Tricosa.
Do you know what that means?
So I think it's something like bicycle.
Oh, like a cyclist?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. Asa Tricosa is one of my favorite designers. I just love her, the details that she puts in her sweaters. She's got a lot of classic designs. So this is a sweater for me, and the yarn I am using is from Kia in Sweden. It's Gotland wool. It's 2-ply. So this is the yarn. And I ordered 5 skeins. It's just gorgeous. It's really beautiful, heathered, 100%
It's like silver.
Yeah, and so this is a saddle shoulder sweater with some nice details. So I separated for the sleeves, and on this one I'm doing the sleeves first. So I knit and separated until I finished one skein, and then I started on the sleeve. So I finished one sleeve. It's got some interesting split stitch detail on the sleeve edging under the arm, which is the same as used as for the shoulder. And then it's got an interesting cuff where you do short rows and you turn it over. So yeah, I'm really enjoying this. I hope to get this finished pretty soon. I don't think I'm trying to decide if I should take it with me or not. We're flying out this weekend. Yeah, so really enjoying this. This will be a nice spring, autumn.
Yeah.
It's very light as well.
And with the light color, you can see the details that you've done, you know?
Yeah. This is the split. I actually, excuse me, I was knitting this while I was in Colorado, but I had made a mistake in this and I just decided to rip it out.
Oh.
So there's been a lot of ripping going on in behind the scenes. So I basically knit to separating, and then I ripped pretty much almost to the beginning. Yeah.
Oh, geez.
But it's okay. I'm glad I did it because I'm much happier with it now. And it would have bothered me if I'd gotten the one detail on the sweater and I screwed it up.
Yeah.
So, and now I know how to do it because there's 2 different directions and I was getting one direction wrong. So yeah, so that's my other whip. 2 sweaters that I've been sort of more or less monogamously working on, if you can be working on 2 things monogamously. Yeah, but I have been doing Finish It Friday too.
Oh, yeah. Do you want to talk about that?
Okay, yeah. Yes, so I've been trying to work down my whips. It's also part of my knit bingo, and I've been doing Finish It Friday where I work on an old whip on Fridays. And one of the old whips, it's one of your bags, Natasha.
Oh, I don't know, that was some promotion at WeWork.
That
I've never really gone to a WeWork, but I think I went to an event there years ago and got this.
Oh, I thought this was your design, but no. Okay. So it's a sweater that Natasha had started a long time ago and then lost interest.
I should look up
It's the Cyklur.
When I started that.
And the reason she didn't like it is because of the way that the body is flaring out, you can see. But it's really gorgeous tweedy yarn that we bought at a yarn festival. And so it's been languishing for a while, but I want to finish it now. So I've been working on the sleeve, another sleeve.
I cast it on in October 2018.
Oh, that's not that long ago. Well, anyway, so it's an old whip that I'm slowly making some progress on. So I've been working on the sleeve.
So I did the body to here, and then you've picked up and done the sleeve.
Yeah. And I am just on the hem now. It's not the hem, the cuff. It's an interesting rolled cuff. So I just been working on this on Fridays, and
The yarn is so silky.
I'm going to show you the yarn. It's called Fiber Stash.
You can see how tweedy it is.
Yeah. So we bought this at a festival from the dyer.
At the New England Fiber Festival. It must have been that fall 2018.
Right. This is called Great Scott. And I don't know now which is which, but we've got two. We've got the light one, and we've got the dark one. The dark one is just gorgeous.
Yeah, they're both really nice.
And so
It's
Great
so squishy
Scott.
and
What's
silky.
the other color? Oh, that's great. So the light color must be the Great Scott because I've got two labels.
Right, and I think I just got one skein of the dark, right?
Yeah, that's all I have in here, and I don't have it. I'm sure it's on the Ravelry.
Maybe it's on my Ravelry page. Let's see how I was doing in 2018.
Yeah.
With my Ravelry.
Okay.
Okay, charcoal was the other one. Charcoal and Great Scott.
So this is the charcoal.
My first colorwork sweater. This is supposed to be a cowl for our Arne and Carlos cruise in 2019, but clearly I didn't finish it for the cruise in 2019.
But I made one and I finished it.
Yeah, you finished
I've
yours.
worn it on this episode. Mine's kind of
this channel.
On this channel, sorry, not this episode. Yeah, I've worn it on this channel. Mine's sort of an impressionist version because the colors melt into each other.
This is quite a long sleeve.
Yeah, I guess it is. Wait, but once it's.
We'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. It's also quite narrow. Bless you. Maybe you can try it on because I was actually thinking if you don't want to wear this, I probably would.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I might redo that. Once I finish the sleeves, I'll figure out what to do with the flaring body.
Yeah.
I might re-knit it at a smaller gauge or do some decreasing or something.
Right. Well, thanks for working on that.
Yeah.
So the finish it Friday, is that, are you supposed to work on that till it's done? Or do you have a set number of Fridays to work on it?
Oh, yeah. No, I haven't done that. I just randomly pulled. I've got a pile of old whips, and I just randomly pulled some old whips, and that was one of them. Another Friday, I pulled up a whip that I was going to rip out, but then I ripped out the sleeves, and I looked at the body, and I decided, maybe I'll finish that. But that takes a lot more activation energy to get into it, so I haven't tackled that. But basically, it's I just want to work on an old whip, any old whip, on a Friday. Every Friday.
Okay.
And that's quite helpful actually.
Yeah.
And then I did frog something because a viewer, Sharon from Arlington, Massachusetts, contacted me and asked me if I would be willing to either sell or trade some yarn that I had. And I had started a sweater that I wasn't too happy about. It was in this yarn. It's a cotton. Rowan Pure Life, but a different color. I bought two sets.
So I feel like, was it gray?
Yes, it was gray.
It's like gray, purple, or pink over here. And teal, some teal.
Anyway, I said to Sharon, I've got this many balls, but then
This is cool.
I'm going to have to rip out. And she was fine with that. So I ripped it out. So that was great. That was a frog. That was an old whip I didn't have to worry about. I sent her the yarn, and she sent me some really gorgeous Shetland wool in exchange. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with this yet, but that color is very similar to what you're wearing. It's called Oyster, I think.
Oh, yeah, it is called Oyster. So how many different colors did you get?
I got, so these two, it's Jameson Smith's, those two colors. And then this is some other organic native Shetland wool.
In a purple.
In a purple, yeah. So I don't know if I have enough to make a sweater out of these. I think these are 25 gram balls.
Yeah. They remind me of like the Marie, they're thicker, but they remind me of the Marie Wallen little skeins.
Oh yeah. So I think, I'm not sure yet what this is all going to become, but I was really excited to get some Shetland wool.
Via Arlington, Mass.
And so it was a good de-stash.
Yeah.
except it's not helping me to stash down because I got 3 sets of wool for one that I gave away.
Right, but these two could do something, you know,
Together.
These could either do something together.
It might be a sweater, a smallish sweater.
Yeah.
So that was kind of a fun thing to do.
Yeah.
Okay, your other whip, Natasha?
Okay, so a couple weeks ago, I was working on this sweater at a friend's place, and I was using my Licka wooden needles, and I put it down, and her dog found one of the needles and ate it.
Oh, really? It wasn't our puppy this time?
I know. So apparently, watch out. I think puppies, they like the wooden needles.
Yeah.
So she ate one of the needles and I needed a replacement. So I went online and I was trying to not buy them from Amazon. So I found a shop called Firefly Fibers in Beaver Dam, Wisconsin, had them. So I put those in my cart and I was like, well, I should probably order something else too. So I was really looking for some mohair like yarn that wasn't going to be super thin. And I found this, the fiber company Zero.
Oh.
So it's an English company. So the yarn is a brush blend of Surrey alpaca, organic cotton, and merino wool.
Wow.
And I actually bought 4 colors. I bought these 3 and a light teal. And I bought them doing the spot sweater in mind. But then I started looking closer at the spot sweater, and I think the spot sweater does better with a bunch of different colors. So like using leftovers. So I was like, well, then I should just use these and put the leftovers towards the spot sweater.
Oh, yeah.
So I looked through my queue, and I think this comes out to a DK. I think this is a DK.
Oh, really? What size needles are you using?
I'm using size 7.
It's incredibly light. And I didn't realize it has cotton in it.
I think that might be like the middle thread or something.
Right.
Let's see.
It's really gorgeous.
Oh, it's a sport.
Sport weight? Okay.
Yeah. So I looked in my queue, and oh, that's interesting. This is a DK sweater, but I'm using sport yarn. Maybe that's why my gauge is off. I didn't gauge swatch for this, which is
brave,
especially because it is a bottom-up knit in pieces sweater. So it's gonna be a little long, but this is the Judd pullover by Alexis Winslow, and it is a color block sweater. So this is the front. And I have...
It feels beautiful.
Yeah.
It's like cotton wool.
It's really light.
It's like a bunny.
This is like not holding anything. I've just started to do the shaping for the armholes. So you can see it is going to be pretty long. This is the body. And I think it says that it should be 16 inches. And I did 1 inch left on the hem. You're supposed to do a 3-inch ribbing for the hem. And I only did 2 inches because I was like, I don't want it to be as long as the... pattern. And let's see how long this is. This is, and I'm not doing this very well. Let's see. I'm at 19 inches instead of 16.
So
maybe
why
18. No, 18.
18.
Because I counted and my gauge isn't right.
Oh, and also of course because you're doing the rows. No, but if this is sport weight and it's a DK pattern, then this should be smaller.
Oh, well, it's not. That's okay. So it's going to be a little
maybe it'll
long.
fit me.
Well, I think it's still going to be width-wise fine.
Yeah.
But it's just going to be longer than normal. You know, I think.
But it'll be nice to wear it'll be okay to wear with leggings. It's not like it's super long.
Natasha. Right. It's not like it's down to my knees.
Right.
So yeah, I've got like a couple more inches to do of the front, and then I will do the back. So since I hadn't bought this yarn planning to do this sweater, there's going to be a little fudging with the colors. So I have 2 balls of these 2 colors and then just 1 of this color, and then I have a lighter teal. I'm going to have enough to do the front and back the same way, but the sleeves are supposed to be done in this color, which is going to be the white, and I don't think I'm going to have enough to do the sleeves a solid white. So I might do some color blocking on the sleeves rather than buying another skein of white. We'll see. And I'm doing the smallest size. It has about 10 inches of positive ease. The model has 9 inches. So it's like an oversized.
Kind of like a sweatshirty, comfy sweater.
Yeah. Here's the model pattern pic.
Didn't I send you?
You did send this to me. And it's intarsia. So I'd done a little bit of intarsia before on my league pullover, just in the shoulder bit here. So the pattern is really detailed, really well written. Video tutorials, lots of explanation of everything. There's a chart with numbers for this, and I found that following the numbers, so she'll tell you how many stitches per color each row, and I found it was easier to follow that than the chart because you're only changing 1 or 2 stitches as you go.
Oh, right.
So it's easier to keep track of the count. And this is what the back looks like. So I'm just twisting as you go so that I don't create any holes with the intarsia. And it's really, there's a little bit of twisting that I have to deal with every so often. You can see here I need to do a little cleaning up, but it's not that bad. I wouldn't bring this, this isn't out and about knitting, but it's definitely, it's easy enough to do like while watching TV or something. I've only been able to do 1 row while we've been recording here, and I think I messed up the count. So it's not completely mindless, but it's not super focused, challenging knitting either. So I might bring this to England because it's so light.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And we'll see. I'm not sure if I'll cast on anything else or if I'll just bring my Birch and this, but I just really like this yarn.
It's lovely.
It's so nice. I would definitely get more of this yarn.
I know. I'm thinking that I would like to make something out of that.
Yeah, it's really nice and fluffy. So, but I can't get over how light it is.
I know. Are they 100 gram skeins?
Let's see. 50 gram. 50 grams for 225 meters.
Oh, okay.
So,
Well,
and I'm knitting on size 7 needles.
Okay, so it is airy, but it looks, it's a really nice fabric.
Made in Peru.
Oh, made in Peru. Huh, interesting. So it's a British company, the fiber company.
Yeah.
But it's made in Peru. Okay.
So those are my whips. Do you have any other whips?
I do have another whip, which is another hat that I'm going to be ripping out.
Oh yeah.
But I'm just going to share it briefly because one of you asked us about the barber cords.
You wanted to say pole, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. There was a lot of comments about the barber cords.
We want to call them barber poles, but they're not barber poles. They're barber
I don't
cords.
even know how we started that.
I think because whenever I hear the word barber, I'm thinking barber pole. Like I don't, barber cord isn't like a compound of 2 words that I'm used to saying together, but barber pole is.
Yeah. So I was going to make Anna a floral motifed hat, similar to the hat that you had made, but
using the motifs from this book.
Yeah, using motifs from this book and using this mini skein. This is British wool, the Grey Sheep Company.
And Dad had gotten us those mini sets for Christmas.
Yeah, so I had a mini set called Springtime. So that seemed sort of it seemed like a nice idea to make a springtime hat. And I was using a combination of patterns, and I thought that I had cast it on so that it would be small enough, but it's actually a bit too big.
So you showed me this yesterday, and I found that mine was too big, and I looked at yours and felt the same way. You can see I'm putting it on now, and this lighter green is supposed to be folded under for the ears, and this is supposed to be the end, but it's a little difficult to do when trying on, but you can still tell that it's very loose.
Yeah, you really want a little bit of negative ease for a hat. It's not as loose as yours, but so I'm going to rip it out.
No, this is definitely looser than my finished one.
Really?
Yeah.
And I thought I cast on less stitches.
I think you have a looser gauge than I do, but yeah.
Oh yeah, I probably do have a looser gauge.
So you're going to end up ripping this out, but we wanted to show, there have been a couple asks about how to use this.
Yeah.
So it's a tube of plastic that has where is the camera on these things? It has a hole in it.
It's a 2 millimeter hole, I think.
So you can put a needle, let me do this on camera, I guess. You can put the needle right into the tube like that and put it on snugly, and now they're connected. So then you can, you pull this, you do the opposite if you were
putting it on
on. But then you can, as she says, you can easily just kind of pull.
But you have to do it gently.
Yeah, so I'm just pushing my needle through here. And then you can pull the cord again. This would be easier to do with like a camera above, but I'm pulling the cord through here. And then you can kind of push your stitches back on. Okay, sorry, my phone, our highly technical recording system here of my phone closed out of the video recording. So we're back. So as I was saying, this is easier to do for trying on than waist yarn for obvious reasons. You don't have to get out a needle and kind of thread through. And the cord is a lot more flexible than the cords for
needles,
for interchangeable needles. And then also, you can do this when you have fixed needles, because obviously with interchangeables, you can twist off and put on the safety guards and try on. The cord just can be a little bit inflexible, but we're not always knitting with interchangeable needles, so you can use this when you've got fixed needles too. And it's relatively inexpensive to buy. And I don't know why I'm still threading this on, because you're going to pick this off. But you can see I've just been kind of scooting it along. And it's a little difficult to do while I'm like up here holding it. But right. It takes a couple times to make sure you don't go too crazy pulling the tension and pull the cord off your needle. But you can get the hang of it, and it ends up being a pretty smooth process. So that is what we use them for.
And it's much easier if you're using smaller needles, of course, but I have used them for size 8. You just have to be a little bit more careful.
Yeah.
But what I found, if I'm using it for works, for projects that I'm using big needles for, the stitches are much bigger, so sometimes I can just thread the cord through the stitches by itself without even attached to the needle, when it's something like this project, for example. And I did use, when I had the sleeve on hold, well, you can see I'm using it to hold the sleeve instead of waist yarn, or instead of a cord.
And then you don't use up a cord that you could use for knitting, and you can just keep that there to easily try on and put back on when you're ready.
Exactly, yeah. So that's how these, we only discovered these a few months ago, and definitely love them. So, okay, I think that's it for projects. I'm planning a next project, which is going to be my travel project, I think, using Holst. And we've got some happy mail to talk about.
Yeah, I don't have a kind of next project planned, but you do. So do you want to talk about that next project before we talk about the happy mail? We're borrowing who is it that says happy mail? Is it Chevy Rel?
I think Needles at the... Oh, you know what? Is it the Grocery Girls? Or
someone... We didn't come up with...
Needles at the Ready? Or Chevy Rel?
Yeah.
Whoa. Okay, so my next project, I am going to use... I'm just getting all tangled up today. Holst. And one of you viewers said that you wash the Holst supersoft before knitting. And then when Natasha said to me that she thought the sweet pea had really bled, I decided to wind off some cakes. And it is a bit of a labor of love. And I don't know how I got tangled up. So I had some balls. Anyway, I wound off some and I washed it and recaked it, and it really does feel so much softer and it's fluffier.
Yeah.
And the project that I want to make.
So let's see. You wound off some into like this.
Yeah.
Off the cone, and then you tied it up with some waste yarn, and then you just soaked this.
Yeah.
And then you took this and wound up into cakes.
Yeah.
And you soaked them individually, not with other.
Yeah, I soaked them individually because at least the first rinse. So what I did is I soaked it briefly. You can see some, I'm not sure what it's called, but some stuff comes out. None of these actually really bled that much. Not even this color, interestingly enough.
Wow. I'm nervous with bleeding with this.
Oh yeah, we'll have to use color catchers. So then I rinse it, then I put in fresh water and a little bit of this soap that I use, so it smells nice. It's got a jasmine scent. And then I soak it, and then I just hang them out on the line to dry. It is a bit of a labor of love, and then I recake them. And interestingly enough, I've been able to gauge between 50 and 60 grams just by eye.
Wow.
Of winding off the. This one is a little bit more. This one's, I think, more like 70. I got carried away. So the sweater, I'm going to hold this just single.
Okay.
And I'm going to use US size 4 needles. And I already have a sweater that I knit it out of Holst supersoft. So I know the gauge. And I'm going to do the crazy stripe tee, which I already made one version. And there's a couple on Ravelry that have used Holst. Mm-hmm. It's going to be a nice light sweater, I hope, and in more spring colors. And it's another podcaster, Anna from Donegal.
Yeah.
She just recently made a crazy stripe tee. So this is my original version, which I made in 2016. I think the pattern's been out since 2014. And I used Noro and a plain kind of charcoal gray. So you can see it's kind of fun because you knit sideways. So the pattern is 2 main colors, and then you have a color pop.
Do you knit sideways, or do you kind of?
Well, you do knit. There's short rows. You knit this straight, but then these are all short rows.
Okay.
It's not exactly sideways. Sorry, thanks for correcting me, Natasha. But it's short rows, and then they join at the side.
Cool.
It's really a fun.
And it's done
knit.
in the round.
It's done in the round. You start at the top, and it's set in sleeves, and the way it's done that the sleeves kind of match. There's so many versions on Ravelry, but you can see that it's sort of matching.
Oh, yeah, the lines are...
The lines, yeah. So I'm going to use 2 main colors. So the original pattern is 2 main stripy colors, and then there's a color pop at the top here that carries through the sleeves, and then there's a color top in the body that's on a diagonal. So I am planning on using... Now I can't find everything. This... and this color, which is called damask, and the sweet pea as my 2 main colors. And this color is going to be the ribbing around the neck. This is going to be the dominant color, and then that, and then I'm going to have 2 splashes of color. This one, which is a 50 gram that I ordered when I made this shawl. Oh yeah, so this is a Holst super soft, also Holst single, and I like how the Holst feels single. I'm looking for, this is Viola, this color. And then my other pop is going to be this dark color, which is
so it'll be these 4
Jasper.
colors.
And this is very similar to what I'm wearing. So it's going to be these 4 colors, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So, yeah, I know it's a fun knit, and maybe not the best for travel knitting, but I am going to stay in England a bit longer, and I'm going to go visit my mom and my sister for Easter, and we're going to go to the Lake District, which is a beautiful part of England. And I've heard that there's a yarn store in Kendal.
Oh.
So I'm going to try to make it to the yarn store in Kendal. There was a little yarn store in the town that my mom lives in, Heswell, but it's closed down. It closed down in the pandemic.
Oh, that's a shame.
And then I'm going to resurrect the sweater I'm making for my mom. And I think I'm just going to have a pair of socks. Mm-hmm. I need something little and portable. So that's it for the knitting. I'm looking forward to casting this on later this week, and And I think I'm glad I went through the effort of pre-washing, but I don't think it's necessary.
What's going to happen if you need more yarn than what you've pre-washed?
Well, I'm just going to take, I've used people's projects to gauge roughly how much yarn you need. And it's not that much. It's less than 100 grams of each main color.
Okay.
And less than 50 grams of the color pops. And I already decided if I run out of the sweet pea, for example, then I'll just use the other colors. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah,
I'll just work with what I have.
That's a good call.
Yeah, so I'm going to take one of this, the rest of the sweet pea, and 2 of this, and whatever this works out to. Well, this is about 70 grams, which is more than enough, I'm sure.
Yeah. Hello, editing Natasha
And just hanging out, Petra.
we are in England at an Airbnb. So first off, apologies, this didn't go up very quickly. It's not that editing takes that much out of me. It just takes a little bit of time. And what with packing and a few other things this past week, I just didn't get to it before we traveled. But I'm finishing it up here, so it's going up. But a couple of things I wanted to shout out. First, Susan, so sorry I was calling you Carol. You're gonna see that. You're gonna see that bit right after I insert this. So I call you Carol twice. I'm so sorry. But Susan, thank you so much for the vintage knitting pattern. And then 2, I realized that I never thanked everyone for all the comments about how to finish the optic blanket. And Mom, you want to talk about how you kept score of the comments?
Oh yes, so I went through all your suggestions on what to do with the blanket, and the crab stitch around the border far out one I-cord. I can't remember the exact numbers now, but
I'm putting you on the spot here.
it was in the 20s, people suggesting not just the crochet border, but the crab stitch in particular, which neither of us have done, but
Yeah.
I understand that there are some YouTube videos, and it's sort of it's some kind of a chain stitch backwards, so we will look into that. And then it was in the high teens, I think, for suggestions for an I-cord, which was my personal initial suggestion too, but there were some pretty nice in detailed suggestions around tension and so on. And an I-cord, maybe not just, if you do think of an I-cord, not just 3-stitch, but maybe a 4 or 5-stitch I-cord.
Okay.
So thank you. Natasha
I haven't picked it back up yet. I kind of want to give it a big block first, a big soak, because it's been all over the place for years. So I kind of want to give it a rinse before I do the edge. But thank you, everyone, and hope you have enjoyed this episode and the little bit that's going to go after this. And I'm taking some pictures here while we're in England. So our next episode will have some England footage. So thanks again for watching.
Thank you. Bye. So that's it. So now we just have happy mail, I think.
So a couple weeks ago, someone reached out to us on Instagram about a vintage pattern they had. Her name is Carol. And I said, sure, send it along. And she sent us this beautiful package with this gorgeous flower paper.
I love this. I love all the colors in this.
Yeah, really nice. So I want to use this to maybe make a greeting card with.
Yeah.
Which is really nice and springy. So thanks for that little detail. So the pattern, and of course with a sweet note on this, like, sheep happiness.
Really cute.
Or sheep happens, excuse me.
Sheep happens.
Sheep happens. So she's Carol from Delaware. So the pattern is, does it say what year? I'm not sure when it's from, but it's a patent pattern. And the reason she sent it to us is because this is actually knit sideways.
Yeah.
And I think it's referring to, you had gotten me some yarn for my birthday back in the summer of 2021 that I was thinking of using to knit a sideways pattern for. So this could be really helpful in, it's called Side to Side, I think. So actually there's a couple patterns in here.
Yeah, it's a little booklet.
Yeah,
really.
there's 6 patterns in here. I think this one is...
It's Shetland style chunky, which is, wait a minute, there's a published date here, in 1985.
1985.
Wow. And it's Chester, Connecticut. That's so interesting. Distributed by Susan Bates of Chester in Connecticut. Yeah.
So, okay, so those are the 5 patterns. This one There's one on the back, and then there's these two. And, so there's 4 patterns. Oh, here we go. There's more here. Look at this 80s hair.
That's really great. So you'll be able to use that sideways one with that yarn.
Yeah, maybe I'll get inspired over the summer to try doing that.
So thank you very much.
Thanks, Carol. That was really thoughtful.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so it tells you the patterns and what, I don't want to fold it. It tells you the patterns and what page they're on. So what they're shown on. So the front is the side to side one, which I think is the pattern that she was referring to. That would be helpful. So thanks again, Carol. Really thoughtful, and I'm excited about both the paper and the pattern. And this was $1.75 for
in 1985.
In 1985 for 6 patterns. Excuse me. Oh no, sorry. Yeah, 6 patterns.
Nice.
Yeah.
And the other happy mail I got was from my friend Lauren. Years ago, when we lived in North Carolina, she still does. And she watches our podcast. Hi, Lauren. And she sent me these beautiful vintage darning. It's a mushroom and an egg. And I just really love these. You can see how they're being used for mending socks, or even sleeves, elbows on sweaters. So I do mend a lot of my socks.
You can feel how much this one's been used.
Yeah. And I think there might be some woodworm damage maybe. But yeah, so thanks, Lauren. These are really lovely.
It doesn't look like woodworm damage. It looks like it's been hit with something.
Yeah, maybe that's probably more likely. But it's nice to I enjoy the wear and tear of these, and this just feels really great in your hand, this egg. And Lauren said she had quite a few from family members. So great, yeah. Really nice vintagey happy mail.
Yeah,
thank you.
Vintage theme there.
So I think that's it for us.
Yeah, thanks for watching all the way here. Thanks for watching in general.
Yes.
And we will record hopefully again in April.
Later in April,
yeah.
Probably towards the end of April. So yes, stay well, everybody.
Take care of yourself and enjoy. What do you say? You say enjoy your hobbies.
Enjoy your hobbies. Enjoy every day in this difficult time in the world if you can.
Bye.
Bye.